Hey, my name is Tim, and in this step-by-step tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a website for your construction company. Let's begin. With the method I'm going to show you, building your website is really easy and everybody can do it. If you take a few hours, you can easily do it over the weekend. We're going to work with this software called Wordpress. That's the most popular way to build a website. 30% of all websites on the internet are powered by Wordpress. And it's basically all just a bunch of drag and drop and copy and paste, which I will also show you. But let's not waste any more time, and I'll just show you the site we're going to be building. But remember, this is just one example. After this video, you can basically build any kind of website you want to have. So if you even have another project or ever need another website, you can do whatever you want. It's all just about your creativity. Okay, so the website starts with this big hero section. So we have a big picture and a button. If you click on the button, it automatically scrolls down to this page. If I even refresh it, because it was already loaded, you will see it has this cool effect. So we have 255 completed projects and 100% satisfied customers, a small text about your company, then a short section describing your services maybe. You can also click on Learn More to get to a dedicated page for each service where you describe what you can do. Then you have a first call to action, so work with us, leads to your contact page. Then you have a section where you show some of your latest projects. This is great. You can also click on Read More to get to the projects page, or click on this button. So this leads to the projects page. And down here, we have some testimonials, which are always great to show what your customers think of you and to build some more trust. Then we have another About Us section. This is simply short text saying what you can provide and what kind of services you do. And then another call to action with your telephone number or a link to the contact page. Okay, so if we scroll up again, here you can also see we have a navigation. So here you can put in your logo. I'll also show you how you can get a logo in case you don't have one already. For example, let's take a look at the contact page. So contact us, get in touch, your office, your phone number, your email address, your social links, so your Facebook account, maybe a Twitter or LinkedIn. We even built in a contact form, so the people can automatically request a quote and you will receive these messages and can easily answer the leads. That's really awesome. It makes it really easy to contact you. Then we also built in a Google map so people can find your location easier, a small About Us section again, and a little footer. We have a projects page where we have an overview of some of our projects. I would definitely recommend to build a project page or to showcase some of your projects to show what kind of good work you can deliver. That's always really important in building trust because most visitors will not know what kind of work you do. And even if they do, this will just be a second reminder on what kind of great work you do. And then the leads will automatically flock in over the contact page. Okay, so here we have different projects, another testimonial and the footer. They could even click on the projects. So for example, on this demo project. And then you have a dedicated project page. If you want to, you can also not have it. It's just what you prefer. Where you can describe it some more, show some more pictures, get back to the overall projects page and all of that. And by the way, this is just one example I built just to show you what you could do, but you don't have to do any of this. If you don't like some sections, if you don't like the whole layout, you can always not do it. You can just do whatever you want. Let me get into the dashboard real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, here I am in the page builder and this is what we're going to work with. It's really simple. You have your layout on the right side and on the left side, you have everything you can edit. And let's say I don't like the section, I could just delete it. Let's say I don't like this number, I can click on it and change it. I can change this text to hello I can make it bigger or smaller if I just change it here. I can delete sections. I can switch sections, so maybe I want it here. I can even add my own sections if I click on plus, and let's say I want one, and then I want to have a text. And maybe also a video. And maybe I also want Google Maps in it. It's really simple. It's basically just a bunch of drag and drop and copy and paste, and everybody can do it. Making websites has never been as easy as it is today, and you definitely don't need to spend thousands of dollars on a web designer. The website will also look good on your mobile phone. Let me show you that real quick. Here's a view of the iPad version, so this looks good. And the mobile version also looks great. So that's really important, but you will also learn how to do it in this tutorial. So if you want to make your own website for your construction company and save thousands of dollars, plus learn a very valuable skill, which you can use for any of your businesses, friends and family, watch this tutorial. You'll learn everything important and be ready to build your own page in a few hours. Let's go. When making a website, you basically have to do 3 steps. The first is to get a domain. A domain is basically the name of your website. For example, Facebook's domain is facebook.com, Google's domain is google.com, and my domain is timvisits.net. If we imagine your website as your house, the domain would be your address. It's where people can find your website. Domain names cost around $15 per year. The second thing we need is web hosting. You can imagine web hosting as a super fast computer with a really fast internet connection that's running 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, and it's storing all of your website's information and uploading it live to the internet. So your images, icons, texts, and whatever else you have on your website. Without web hosting, people could open your domain, but it would be a blank page. So to have a live site on the internet, you need web hosting. If we stay with the real estate metaphor, your website would be your house, your domain would be your address, and the hosting would be the property. Web hosting costs between $5 to $15 per month, but normally is also paid annually. And the third thing we'll need is WordPress. This is completely free and available from wordpress.org. Very important, do not mistake it for wordpress.com. WordPress.com is sort of a light version of wordpress.org that is much more limited in functionality. You also cannot follow most YouTube tutorials by using WordPress.com, so I personally would stick with WordPress.org. It's free anyway. Now, this may seem like a lot of stuff to start a website, but don't worry. In today's day and age, you don't have to get all of those separate and connect them. You can just go to most normal web hosting companies, and there you get all 3 together. So you just buy the domain and hosting and can install WordPress pretty easily, at least in most hosting companies. So don't worry about that, we have that done in the next 5 to 10 minutes. We're just gonna continue and do these 3 steps. Let's go. Now you can decide which web hosting company you want to choose for your website. There are thousands of companies out there and I personally didn't try all of them. But a good pointer could be if you go to wordpress.org, which is the official WordPress site, and then go to hosting. They recommend some companies. In here you can see Bluehost, DreamHost, and SiteGround, at least right now. Sometimes they change it. I tried Bluehost and DreamHost for a couple of months, but I personally wouldn't really recommend them. But SiteGround, I use those for like the last 3 years, I would say. Yeah, about 3 years. And I have a Grow Big and a startup account with them. And I'm really happy. So if you have no clue on what web hosting company to choose, maybe check out SiteGround. What I like the most about them is their 24/7 customer support. So if I ever had a problem, I just chatted them up and asked them the questions. And they helped me solve them in a couple of minutes. So that was always really helpful. What else? The servers are really fast. And I also never had any problems with hackers whatsoever. So yeah, I'm happy with them. Maybe check them out, maybe search for a SiteGround review online and see for yourself if it's something that might be interesting for you. Otherwise, you'll probably find another web hosting company, or you may already have a web hosting company. Since I use SiteGround, I will also use them in this WordPress tutorial. But like I said, if you have another web hosting company, no problem, just figure out how to install WordPress on there, and then you can follow this tutorial the same way as everyone else. Okay, so if you want to check out SiteGround, I will close that tab. I would really appreciate it if you can go to the very first link in the video description once and click on it, because that's my affiliate link. You can also see it here. That just means that I get a little commission from SiteGround in return for sending you. That's at no extra cost for you, and I also don't just do it for the money. Like I said, I've been a customer for the last 3 years, and I think it's only right to recommend the web hosting companies I use for my own projects. So yeah, SiteGround is my recommendation, and if you use the link, you can support free tutorials like that at no extra cost for you. So thank you for that. Okay, I'll close these tabs once, and also this and this. And now we are on this page. SiteGround offers 3 different plans: the Startup, Grow Big, and Go Geek plan. Normally, I would say the Go Geek plan is probably a little too much to start out with. Unless you want to start an e-commerce site, or if you expect more than 100,000 visitors per month, you probably don't need the Go Geek plan for now. You can always upgrade later on, so I would normally stick with the Startup plan or Grow Big plan. The main 2 differences between the Startup and Grow Big plan are: one, that you can only host one website on the Startup plan, and on the Grow Big plan you can host unlimited websites. So if you already know that you're gonna make multiple websites, for example, yourdomain.com, yourrestaurant.com, yourbusiness.com, I would probably choose the Grow Big plan. The other difference is that the Grow Big plan has a little faster servers than the Startup plan. That's just because you have a little more disk space on the server, and also because you get a little better technology to help make your site load faster. But it's not a really big difference. So the Startup plan is also really fast. It just kind of depends on what you want. I would say the main factor is that the Grow Big plan offers multiple pages and the Startup plan only one website. You can also here click on compare hosting plans to see like all the features right next to each other and see which ones are best for you. Or you can also go to help and chat with the support, and they can help you out if you have any questions regarding your website or which hosting you should choose. In this case, I choose the Startup plan because I just get it for this YouTube tutorial. For my personal projects, I have a Grow Big account and also one Startup account because I want to have those separate. But yeah, in this one I choose Startup, but for you, just choose whatever is right for your project. Cool. So I can go on choose plan here, or also on get plan when I'm here. So I click on get plan. Then we land on this page. Here you can either register a new domain, so the name for your website, or you can also choose I already have a domain in case you already own your domain. For example, you have it stored on GoDaddy or whatever. Then you choose I already have a domain, type it in here and go to proceed. And in the top right corner of this video, I will link a video showing you how to connect your domain to SiteGround. You probably don't have a domain already, so I'll choose register a new domain. And here you can search for the domain you want. For example, I want to use letscreateawebsite.com. Right now it's set to .de because I'm located in Germany, but you can always change the domain extension here on the right side. So just click on here. And I would probably stick with the most popular ones, but you can also choose a country specific or a generic one. Let's try out.com. And I can probably guarantee you that this one is already taken. So I just click on proceed and try it out. And yeah, this one is taken. So in case your dream domain is taken, You can do a few things. You could change the extension, for example, .de is probably available. You could get a little creative, for example, I could add some minuses in here. Like, let's create a website. I could even add a number, for example, 24. Or what you could also do is go to your dream domain. So in my case, it would be let's create a website.com. And then just try to contact the admin of that domain and try to buy it off him. But that's a little harder, so probably just get a little creative and get a new domain. So I'll try out let's create a website.com. And that's available. Awesome. Okay, then we land here. Now they just need some information about you. So this is your account information with which you're gonna log into SiteGround later on. So your email, your password, and you have to confirm your password. Then some client information, so your country, your first name, your last name. In case you have a company and want to buy hosting over that company, you can choose your company. And if you want, also your VAT or tax ID. Here you can type in your city, your street address, zip code, and phone number. Maybe some of this will also change depending on where you're located, so just fill in what stands there. Then there's the payment information, so your card number, your card expiration, cardholder name, and CVV code. In case you don't have a credit card and you want to pay via PayPal, you can also go up and here under help, chat with the support and ask if you can pay via PayPal. They will then send you a link over which you can pay with PayPal and just proceed with that. I don't know why they don't show PayPal initially. I guess they don't like it as much, but you can also pay via PayPal. Okay, what else? Once you fill that in, you can also check the purchase information. So the plan is the starter plan in case you want to change it. You can also do it here. Data center, mine is in Europe right now, but I could also say no, I want a data center in the UK, in the USA, or maybe in Singapore if I'm more located in Asia or somewhere around that. So just look which is right for you. In my case, it will probably be Europe. I would always choose the one that is closest to your customers, but it doesn't make much of a difference. Then the payment period, right now it's set to 12 months. You could also choose a trial of 1 month, but I mean, you get a 30-day money back guarantee anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference if I choose 12 months and then cancel, or if I choose a trial. I just stick to a year now, but you can just choose whatever you prefer. Okay, then we also see the hosting price again, and what else? Domain registration costs 14 euros, which is alright for a year. Domain privacy, we don't really need that, and the SG site scanner, we also don't really need that. I mean, if you want, you can always add that stuff, but it's not really necessary. So, yeah. Then you can confirm the terms of service and privacy policy, and the total price for me right now is 73 euros. Once I add my VAT, so my tax ID, this will also go down, so it's only 61 euros. Which in my opinion is completely fine. That's like about 5 euros per month for a website. So I'm happy with that, I can't complain. And then I can click on Pay Now. Now your account is being created. By the way, you will probably receive a couple of emails, at least one with your username and password, and probably also one to verify your domain. So you can just open them and then do what they say. I click on Proceed to Customer Area now. Awesome. This is the SiteGround dashboard. If you want, you can take a tour and look around, but we don't even really need that. All we need to do is go to websites here on the top. And here we have my website, which is let's create a website. We can then click on complete and skip and create empty site. For you, it's obviously your domain and not let's create a website. Okay, so skip and create empty site. And then we can click on finish. Great, now we can click on Manage Site. Okay, here we are. Just because we now created a site in SiteGround, it doesn't mean that we have a live website. It's just for the navigation in SiteGround basically. We still have to install WordPress and some other stuff. But by the way, what I wanted to show you first is if you ever have a question or any problem with the installation of WordPress, you can either comment down below and I'll help you out, or you can also go on the question mark here, then go to View Help Center. Here you can click on Contact Us. Then choose, for example, Advanced Technical Help. And let's say, for example, my site is too slow, which shouldn't happen. You can select it here. And then write whatever is your problem. Click on Post. Or you can also chat with them after you clicked on Post. Okay, cool. So this is how to contact the support. But if you ever have a question, also feel free to comment down below and I'll help you out. Good, okay. Let's get back into our website. So websites. And then here we can click on Site Tools. And we get back in here. Now we have to do two things. First, we have to install an Sss certificate. And then we can install WordPress. Now, why do I want you to install an Sss certificate first? This is for the safety of your website and also not to scare away any of your visitors. For example here, if I copy this link and paste it, you can see it says HTTPS. If we didn't have an Sss certificate, it would say HTTP without the S. And this log here would probably be red and not say safe connection, but most likely that there's a problem and that it's not a safe connection. So without a safe connection, Google will also often block your visitors from coming onto your site. I put a screenshot in now, what it will look like. So you don't want that. So that's why we are gonna install an Sss certificate first. To do that, we can go on Security here on the left side and SSL Manager. And here we can see under Manage SSL that I already installed an Sss certificate. Sometimes they are automatically installed without me having to do anything. But if you go in here and under Manage SSL, you don't see your domain with Let's Encrypt. It means you don't have one. So then you can here choose your domain and on the right side choose Let's Encrypt and click on Get. You will then be in an installation queue, so this might take a couple of hours to really get installed. So just do it, wait a few minutes, maybe a couple of hours, get back in here, refresh the site. And if you see that it says active down here, perfect, you can continue. Sometimes it might even take a couple of hours, up to a day, because your domain first has to get really registered. This isn't a fault of any hosting company or anything. This is just because they have to get to a register, get it registered, and then at first all has to be done. So don't worry, just wait up to a day if it doesn't work. Otherwise, you can also, like I showed you, go to the question mark and ask the support or ask me. Okay, so once you have an active Sss certificate, which is really important, I mention it once again, definitely get it before installing WordPress. You can go to HTTPS Enforce here on the left side and choose HTTPS Enforce. But only if you have an active Sss certificate. But also only do this step after you've done the previous step. Okay, since I've done this now, we can actually go on and install WordPress. So to do that, I can click on WordPress here on the left side and click on Install and Manage. Here I can choose WordPress, so I click on Select. Then I can choose the domain I want to install it on, in my case, letscreateawebsite.com. The installation path, we leave that empty. That's really important. If it doesn't allow you to leave it empty, contact the support. Okay, here under language, you can choose in which language you want to have your WordPress dashboard. I'll choose English now, but you can also choose another one if you want. Okay, we don't need the WordPress data, so I'll uncheck that. Here you can choose a username. I would advise you to not use the username admin as the username, because that's too easy to guess and might make your site a little unsafer. So choose something else. Then you gotta choose your password. I would also recommend to choose a very safe password, because you're gonna choose your username and password later on to log into your website. Then you also gotta select your admin email. We don't need the rest. I'll fill that out real quick, and then I also click on install. So I click on install here. And now your site is installing. This may also take a couple of minutes. And by the way, here the same goes as for the Sss Certificate. In case it doesn't work right away, it's probably because the domain first has to get registered. So wait a couple of hours, and if it then doesn't work, contact the support or ask me in the comments. Okay, here we can now see it under Manage Installations. If you want to take a look at it, you can click on this icon here. And congratulations, now we are in the WordPress dashboard. We don't really need this page anymore, so we can close it, but if you ever want to get back in here, just go to SiteGround, log in with the admin information you set up earlier when buying hosting, and then go to the site like you saw in the tutorial. Okay, I'll close this now, and here we are in the WordPress dashboard. This is the place where we work on our website. If you ever want to get back in here, you can just open your domain /wp-admin and log in with the admin information you set up a few minutes ago. Okay, here we don't really need that stuff, it's all just a bunch of news, so we won't really work with that, it's just a small overview. In the top you have your admin bar. We also won't need it as much, mostly to take a look on our website. We can do that by hovering over here and then clicking on Visit Site. Awesome, this is probably what your website will look like now. Not really beautiful, but it looks kinda alright, but we're gonna work on that too. So let's get back into the WordPress dashboard by hovering over here again and clicking on Dashboard. We're mostly gonna work with this navigation here on the left side. So here you have home, like I said, this is just about some updates and news. Then you have posts, you can edit those here, you can manage your media, you can add and create pages, you can manage comments. We can work on our appearance, so the look of our website. We can install plugins, we can manage users, our tools, and also our settings. Don't worry, this may seem a little overwhelming right now, especially if you have never worked with WordPress before, but that's no problem. We're gonna go through all of this very slowly and very easily. I felt overwhelmed too the first time I opened it, but that's no problem. If you just follow this tutorial, you'll get it afterwards and have no problems navigating in here and also working on your site. So don't worry about that, just follow along. I will start now by doing some settings I do for every new website, so just follow them along. First I hover over Settings, and then I click on Permalinks. And here I choose Post Name. Sometimes it's not automatically chosen, so that's why I double checked. So Post Name, Save Changes. Okay, then we go to Users and Your Profile. And here, under nickname, I choose Tim and display name publicly as Tim. I just don't want my admin name to be displayed publicly. Okay, and then we go to Update Profile. Now we can hover over Settings and click on General. And here we have the site title and tagline. Right now the site title is My WordPress. You can also see it here, or if I open the site, You will also see it up here in the tab. My WordPress, just another WordPress site. My WordPress, just another WordPress site. So here we can change the site title and tagline. For example, Tim Wessels, learn how to make a website. Great, we don't need anything else, so I can then click on Save Changes. And if I refresh this page, you'll also see the title changed. Perfect. The next step, you can also see it here, is to create a home page. Right now, if I open my domain, which is let'screateawebsite.com, it just shows hello world. This is an example post. So right now our website is in a blog format, but we want to have a home page on here. So if someone opens your domain, it will open your home page. In order to do that, we go back into the dashboard, and here on the left side it says pages. Then I click on add new. I can click on X here, and we just give it a title. Because it's my homepage, I will call it home. Don't even do anything else here, we don't need that. And then you have to click on publish in the top right once, and once more. Awesome. Now we have a live page, but it's still not a homepage. If I refresh the page, we still have the blog format. So what we have to do is go back into the dashboard, hover over settings, and then click on reading. And in your homepage displays, we choose a static page. And for the homepage, we select home and then save the changes. In case you don't have a single live site, you won't even see your homepage displays. So if you're wondering where you can see it, you first have to publish a page. And in case you want to have a page that is just for blog posts, you can choose it here too. You just have to create it first. Great, and if I refresh the page now, awesome, we have our homepage. Still doesn't look great, but that's what we're gonna work on now. Okay, so I go back in here and click on the dashboard once and can close this too. Let's open our page one more time. So we can hover over the name and open it in a new tab. And every website is built or split into 3 parts. You have your header, which is up here. This mostly contains your title and the navigation, which we don't have yet. Then you have your body, which is all this area. This just contains the information you want to convey. And you have your footer, which is down here. This mostly contains copyright information and also a navigation. In the past, I mean, you can still do it, but in the past, you normally build all this with your theme. So you went in here into the customizer, which you can find up here, and then edited all that, and you were dependent on what the theme offered you. We're gonna do it in a much simpler way now, and all we're editing with the theme itself is the header, so the navigation up here, and the rest, so the body and the footer, will be built with Elementor. Elementor is a page builder and a plugin we just installed. You've probably also seen it in the introduction of this video. This plugin just makes it 10 times easier to build the pages you want. So, our whole goal for the next step is to clean all that up and just leave the header. To do that, we can go back into the dashboard, hover over pages, click on all pages, and then click here on home. Because the home page is the page we want to edit. Okay, once we're in here, we can scroll down, and here you can see the Oceanwp Settings. These are here because we just installed the plugin, you can see it here too, the plugin Ocean Extra. This is just an add-on for the Oceanwp theme. But you don't even have to think about that, just make sure that you install the Ocean Extra plugin. Then you can see all that stuff down here. Normally at least, I have to click on it once more. Okay, so here we have the Oceanwp settings. Under main, we have content layout, and here we choose 100% full width. And if I update the page once and refresh the page, you can see that this part is already gone. Great. We still have this title in here. We don't want that. So I can go to title here on the left side and disable it. Then I update it again and refresh the page. Awesome. Now the body is gone. We still have the footer. So I go to footer here on the left side and disable, update and refresh the page. Awesome. This is also gone. All we've left that we don't want is above the normal header. There's like this small bar. Maybe you can't even see it. This is called a top bar, but it's also unnecessary. So we can go to header and here in display top bar, we disable the top bar and click on update. Refresh the page and it's also gone. That's how we want it. Pretty blank, pretty boring, but that's perfect because now we can start editing with Elementor. That's completely perfect. And by the way, you also don't need to update every single time and refresh the page. I just did it to show you what happens if you do it. You can just do all of these settings once, click on update and refresh the page and you will see it. Cool. So this is done. And what we can do next is click on Edit with Elementor. So you have it here, click on it, and this will open the Elementor page builder. And this is awesome. This makes making websites really easy. Even though it might seem a little overwhelming right now too, because there are a lot of settings you could do. But don't worry, I'll go through everything important with you step by step and you get everything by the end of this. Okay, let's start with the easiest part. Here on the right side, you can see a preview of everything that's going on your page. And here on the left, you can do all the editing. If you want to take a closer look on your website and see how it really looks, you can also hide this panel to see it full screen and you can make it appear again. The great thing about Elementor is that there are thousands of settings you could do, but you don't need to know everything. I would say there are like maybe less than 15 things you really need to know about Elementor in order to be able to build everything you want to build. So let's start with the first one. How is a page in Elementor built up? In order to show you that, I would first import a page template. This is simply a pre-made page which we can edit later on. We don't need to go in depth about the topic of templates right now. That will be important in maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but let's simply start and import a template. This way I can show you way easier how to use Elementor. So to import a template, let's open up the Wordpress dashboard again. You can do that by opening our domain and then /wp-admin again. Or if you're still in Elementor, you can also click on this hamburger icon and then click on Exit to Dashboard. Great. Once we're in here, we're going to go to Elements here on the left. You can see this because we installed the plugin Envato Elements earlier on. If you go to plugins and install plugins, you can also see it here. If you don't see it, definitely install it because we need it now. So we go to Elements. And here you can just type in an email address. It doesn't even have to be a real one. Click on I agree and continue. Then here you can click on X. And these are all template kits. But we don't even need to take a look at it now because we're going to go back to Elementor. That's all we had to do. So to go back to Elementor, you can go to Pages, All Pages. And since we want to edit the home page, here we can simply click on Edit with Elementor. For example, this privacy policy page was never edited with Elementor before. That way you can't do the shortcut. You would have to click on here first and then on Edit with Elementor. But since we're working on the homepage and we already work with Elementor there, we're just going to click on here. Great. Okay. Since we just activated the Envato Elements plugin, we can now see this icon here. So let's click on this first. And here we have the templates we just saw. The ones in the top with the star are in the Envato premium version, which we would have to pay for, but that's unnecessary, so we can scroll down. And here in the bottom, wait, here it is, you can see the free versions. If we go to page 2, we can even see way more. So these are all page template kits. So if I click, for example, on Solar Company, you can see we have a home page, a second home page, a third home page, an About Us page, services, single service, product landing page, a Contact Us page, and all that good stuff. If you want to take a look at them, you can just click on one of those and you see a preview. But let's choose a very simple one for this example. Let's say go to page number 2 and choose House Cleaning Company, and then let's choose House Cleaning Company and Home 1, and just follow me here. We will use other ones later on, especially ones that fit our project, but for now let's choose this one because it's a quite simple one. So here you click on Import Template. Now it's importing. Great, and then you can already click on X and refresh this page fonts. Great, now you can click on this file and on My Templates. And here we see House Cleaning Company, Home 1, and click on Insert. Yes. Awesome, now we already have a ready to go website. This looks pretty cool, but that's not the point of it. The point is to show you how pages are built up. The first thing I noticed is that after importing a template, our header is gone. So we want that back. This sometimes happens. All you have to do then is go to the settings in the bottom left, and under page layout, you can choose default. And then wait a second, it's loading in the meantime. And here we can see the header again. Perfect. Let's click on the 6 buttons on here to get back to the widgets. Okay, so how is a site in Elementor built up? If I move my mouse around here, you can see there's a blue marking around this whole area. This whole area is called a section. If we go down a little bit, we see it again. This whole area is a section. Here also, this is a section, and this is a section, and this is a section. So you can already see that each page in Elementor consists of multiple sections. Inside of these sections, you have columns. So here on the left, you can see it because of this gray area around it. So this is one column, and this is the second column. In this section, we have 4 columns actually. You can see one here, one here, one here, and one here. In this section, we have 2 columns again. So one here and one here. In this section, we have 1 and 2. Even though this might be empty, it's still a column. So what we can see is that each section has 1 or multiple columns in them. And if we go into each column, you can see there are widgets in there. So here you can see we have this button. This is surrounded by blue marking again. We have this text, which is also surrounded by this blue marking. And this title is also surrounded by this blue marking. The same goes for this. We have a title, and in here we have an icon with the text, also surrounded by a blue marking, and also surrounded by a blue marking. These are called widgets. You can find widgets here on the left side. For example, images, videos, buttons, spacers, Google Maps, icons, image boxes, image carousels. So there's a bunch of stuff you can add in here. For example, I want to have a video between the title and the text. So I could just choose the video widget, click it and drag it between this, drop it, and in here we already have a video. So now we have this widget and this widget and this widget and this widget inside of this column, inside of this section. So in total, we have a bunch of widgets inside of columns, inside of sections. This just helps to split up the pages and to work on them. This was already the first lesson and probably one of the most important ones. Let me click on this again to get back to the widgets. Okay, the second lesson is how to edit text. Everything here on the right side can be edited. So let's start with this title. This is a simple text. If I click on this, or if I click on edit heading, or if I right click and then click on edit heading, I can edit it here on the left side. So you have these three options. Click on it, click on this pencil, or right click and then click on edit. Okay, once you're in here, you can edit everything. Let's start with the content. In the title, you can just change whatever it says. For example, how to make a website. And now it already changed the text. We can also add a link. So whenever someone clicks on this title, it will lead to the link we put in here. We can also change the alignment. So right now it's set to left. We can align it in the middle or on the right. Let's put it to the left again. And that's basically all we can do in the text under content. We can also edit the style and advanced settings. Let's go to style, which is just the look of this. So for text color, we could change the text color to anything we want in here. For example, a red tone or a green tone, or we can also change the bar down here to find the right tone we want. For example, this bluish one. We can make it more transparent by dragging this bar to the left. We could also clear it, but I'm just going to choose right again. So I click on right and it's right again. If you want to close that, just click on this square again. Okay. Then we can also go into the typography, which is just the font. So to edit that, we can click on this pencil. Here we can change the font family. You can choose out of hundreds of fonts. Let's just choose this one, for example, or another one. For example, this. You can change the size of the font to make it really big or really small, whatever you like. Let's say this size is okay. You can change the weight to make it more bold or less bold. For example, now it's set to 900 and it's quite bold. You can make it 100. So now the letters are really slim. Set it to bold, whatever you like. You can also transform it. Right now it's capitalized. You can make it uppercase, lowercase, or normal. I would choose capitalized for now. Good, the rest isn't as important. You can change the line height to make more space between the lines. Or also the letter spacing, to have some more spacing between the letters. Okay, if you're happy with that, you can also click on the pencil again to make it smaller. And that's actually all we really need to know about editing text. If you want, you can even edit a text shadow. So if I move it a little to the right by changing horizontal, you can probably see it here. You have a little text shadow. So you can just play with it a little bit to see what looks better. You can also make it a stronger color, so less transparent maybe. So now it's really black. Let's choose a lighter one again. Okay, yeah, that should look alright. This just helps to pop out, for example, this right with the right background. Okay, if we want to close that again, just click on the pencil one more time. Good. Yeah, we could do the same for this, for example. So I can right click and edit text, or just click in here. Then I can change the whole text. This time in content, we don't even have a link or anything. This is simply text. So as you can already see, sometimes the content changes a little bit, but you can just see what you can change in here and then work on that. In this case, just the text. Here you can work on it a little bit like in Word or Google Docs. So you can link certain stuff, you can make a bullet list or a numbered list. You can make stuff bold, italic or underline it. But most of the styling will also be done in the style here. Okay, cool. So I could also align it differently again. Okay, let me click on here again to get back to the widgets. And that's already all you need to know about editing text. The next thing we can learn about are buttons. You can see one button here, for example. It's the same thing as for text. If I want to edit it, you can just click on it. And here we have all the settings. Let's get into the content first. So I click on content. I can change the text to learn more. And for the link, which is probably the most important part about buttons, because you want someone to click on it and then land on another page, here you can link to different pages. For example, if you want to link it to youtube.com, you could copy YouTube's URL. So if I go back once, you can see here in that format and just paste the URL in there. What you can also do is link to other pages of your website. For example, right now I only have one live site, which is the homepage. But if I search for home, you will see I can just select the homepage, and if someone clicks on it now, it will land on the homepage again. Later on, when we have more pages, I will also show you different stuff you can add in there. For example, it could lead to our contact page. Okay, let's just leave it like that. The alignment is the same as for the text. The size, we can change it to extra small or make it extra large, whatever you want. Let's choose medium, for example. You can add an icon if you click on here. Let's say I want to have an angle down or a double angle down. So I choose this and click on insert. And now we have it here behind learn more. The icon position right now is set to after. We can also change it to before. And now we have the angle down before the words. We can also make some more spacing between it. And yeah, that's all in the content. We can also go into style and work on the style of our button. So typography is the same as for text. You can change the font, the size and all that stuff. And also text shadow is the same. So I'm just going to skip that now. Here we can work on the colors. So right now the background color is set to this green tone and the text color is this white. So let's change the background color, for example, to this blue. Click on it again. And the text color to maybe black. We can also make it more transparent again, all that stuff. Click on the square again to make it smaller. We also have a border. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's like a small green border around it. So we could also change that color by clicking on border type and then color and then making it this blue again too. Or we could also just select that we don't even want to have a border and then that would be gone, or we leave it, for example, at solid. We could even make it bigger, so 3. Right now you don't really see it, but if you hover over the button, you can see that the colors change and then you can really see the border around it. And if I make it smaller again, it also gets smaller. So that's kinda what you can do with the border. So right now it's unnecessary, but if you hover over it and have that effect, it's helpful to have a border. We can also work on the border radius. I'm just going to do it to 1. Okay, so the border radius is how round this button is. Right now it's set to 35. If I change it to 0, it's going to be square and have sharp edges. If I put it to 90, it's really round. So let's just leave it at 35, for example. Okay. What else do we have? In here we have padding. This is how much space you have on the inner side of the button. So if I make it, let's say 30, we have way more space to the top, left and right, inside. So from the words to the edge, there's going to be more space. If I make it 100, it's really big. If I make it 0, it's the minimum. Okay, let's set it to 20, for example. What you can also do is just change the padding for certain parts. So right now it's linked together. You can see it here. So when I change it from 20 to 50, everything changes. The top, right, bottom and left. If I unlink it, I could say the top should have 29, the right should have 70, the bottom should have 16. So I can change each of those individually. Doesn't really look too good in this case, but it's also an option. Okay, I just set it back and let's say, and let's say 25. Yeah, that should be all right. Cool. What else can we change in the style? Up here, you can see normal and hover. If I hover over the button, as you also saw before, it changes the colors. That's because here in the normal we have blue and black selected, which you can see. But if I go to hover, you can see text color is white, background color is kind of transparent, and the border color is also white, which you can see around here. We can also work on that and just change it. For example, the background color should be an orange tone, so I choose orange here and drag the transparency over, and let's choose a good color, maybe something like that. And now we have an orange background. That's cool. We could also do the same for the text color. So right now we're on the background color. I just click on this square again, and text color, click on this, and let's say black, for example. So I can just choose the black up here, or I could also choose one that's here. Click on the box again, and then if I hover over it, we have this button color. Looks quite cool. Okay, what else? We could add in hover animation. So if I click on this and choose pulse, for example, if I hover over the button, it moves around. You can choose any of those or also choose none, whatever you like. Let's just click on this X here and have none. Okay, yeah, that's basically all there is to buttons right now. You don't really need more, you've seen all that stuff. And we could do the exact same thing for every single button in here. We have edited this, and we can also go down. Here we have a button, and here we have a button. And here we also have another button. So we can just edit those if we want to. Awesome, that was lesson number 3, how to edit buttons. So that's also done. The next thing we're going to learn is how to undo things. Sometimes you may did some changes and you don't like them when looking at them afterwards, and you may want to undo those. That's really easy in Elementor. All you have to do is click on Ctrl-Z on your Windows computer, or if you use Mac, it's Command-Z. Let me do that a couple of times and you will see that it changes. Here, with every time I do it, I go back a step. Another way to do it is if you go to this icon down here, which says history, you can click on it. And here you see all the changes you made in the last 24 hours. So you can really go down here. And for example, I want to go back to the part where I started editing, so I could just choose this. And all the changes are gone. I edited the video in here earlier than that. Okay. But what if you want to do changes that were further down the road than the last 24 hours? That's also very easy. Every time you click on update, it saves a version of your website which is then in return also the live version of the website. So if I refresh the page, okay, nothing really will change because I didn't refresh it since then. But if I go up here, what also happens is, if you go to revisions, here you see all the versions you saved. So I could also go back to the version of 16 hours ago, for example, or even a month or two. It saves all the versions and you can go back in time as much as you want. This, for example, was even another template. Okay, let me go back to this version. And that's how you can go back in time. Okay, I think this was the 5th lesson. Yeah, it should have been. Okay, so the next lesson is how to change images and how to work on them. We have two types of images. We have background images. For example, here we have a background image. And we have normal images. For example, this is a normal image. This is a background image. And this is a normal image. Let's start by editing normal images. For example, I want to replace this image. How do we do that? That's quite simple. It's like every other widget. You just click on the widget or on the pencil. And here in content, you can change the content. So here I can click on choose image, or I could also just delete it. Then we don't have an image anymore. And then let me click on choose image. And here you could upload files from your computer. We'll also do that later on. But right now I'm just going to choose some of my media. So I go to media library, and these are all the images that are already uploaded to your WordPress media. So in case you imported a few templates, you will have a bunch of images already. Let's say I want to use this image now. So I can just click on it. And if I'm happy with it, I can click on insert media. Now it's inserting and it's in there. Perfect. Here we can also set the width and the height. Right now they are all set to 800 times 600. So they all fit perfectly. You can change the alignment, but that doesn't really make a difference because it's just a small column. You could even give it a link or a caption. And we can also go into the style of it and change the width and the height, which isn't really necessary now because we already set it in here. But I mean, we could also make it smaller if we wanted to, even though it doesn't really make sense right now. Okay, we can also give it more opacity or less opacity, which is quite an interesting one. Also for hover, maybe we want less opacity when hovering. So let's say it's like that. Okay. But I give it 100% opacity again, if it wants to. Okay, perfect. We can also, if I go back to normal and not on hover, give it CSS filters to modify the image a little bit. So if I click on the pencil, I can blur it or unblur it. I can make it more bright or less bright. I can work on the contrast, even though that's actually not that good with such a bright picture. We can work on the saturation and on the hue. Okay, so that's all we can do in the CSS filters. I rarely use them because I like the pictures like they are. But yeah, that's basically what you can do. We can also work on the border radius again and round the image a little bit if you want. But you've seen that all before in the other sections I already showed you. This is just a reminder. Okay, so that's all you need for normal images. They are quite easy. Let me get back into the widgets. And now let's edit a background image. Let's say we want to exchange the background image in here. It's quite similar, but still different. This time it's not a widget, but it's a background. It's the background of a section because it goes all around the section. So what we have to do is edit the section and not a widget this time. To do that, just hover above it, and then you can click on these 6 dots where it says Edit Section. Or you could also just hover over somewhere where it's not a column or a widget, for example here, right click, and then click on Edit Section. It's basically the same. I'm going to click on Edit Section now, and here I can edit the whole section. Let's just go into Style, because this is where we can find the background image. And here on the background, you can find the image. This is now just set to normal, and background type is set as classic. You can also choose different ones. We will see those later on. But let's just stay with classic, and here under color, we could even just say, okay, I want a colored background. Let's say, for example, red. And if I delete this image, we will just have a red background, which can also be quite interesting. For example, here we have a white background, but I don't want a red background. So I'm going to click on here and clear it so it's transparent now. Click on the color again, so on here. And now I can choose an image as the background. So I can just, as in the images before, click on Choose Image and choose an image for my background. Let's say I want to use this one, maybe. No, it's maybe a little more. Yeah, this one should be all right. I'm just going to choose one from my media, but you can also, like earlier, just select a file from your computer. So media, and I choose this and insert media. Like this, insert media. Great. Now we have a background, and we can still do some stuff with it because this looks worse than before. There are a few things we can do. First, we can change the position of the image. For example, right now the door is like kinda in the middle of it. We could change the position by going to position here and making it, for example, center left or top center, bottom center, custom, and then say the X position should be here and the Y position should be there. This all depends on what you want to show on your website. You can also minimize the editing so you can see what it would really look like. And yeah, maybe I like it with the American flag in the middle. Could look cool. Okay. Let's just say I'll leave it at the custom position. There's one more problem, and that is that you can barely see the right titles. So what we can do now is go to background overlay, which is down here, open that up and add a background overlay. So here under color, we can choose, for example, black. Make it a little less, make it a little more transparent. So now the image gets darker because we add a background overlay. This is simply like a grayish color that's overlaid over the background picture. So this way the title can stand out a little more. Say like that. You could even choose red or whatever you want. This all depends on what you want and what kind of colors you use for your website. But this is just an example right now. Yeah, let's leave it like that. You can see the titles. Okay, so I can click on the color again. Even change the opacity here. So now it's getting darker, or now you can't even see it. Like that, should be alright. Okay, we can even go back into the background again. If you click on here, and what else? The attachment right now is set to default. You can even choose scroll. This is quite cool. So if we choose scroll, and now if I scroll down, it's saved. But if I choose, no, not in the position, sorry. But here in the attachment, if I then choose fixed, the picture is fixed, but the rest scrolls. So this way, we have like this effect, which I really like. Kinda seems like going down an elevator. It's quite cool. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. And yeah, the other important thing is the size. Right now it's set to cover, so this way it covers the whole area. Especially if you have smaller pictures, it's important that you work with the size so that it contains the whole area. So here you should choose cover. You could also choose contain or custom again. This all kinda depends on what you want to show. For example, here I chose auto, and now the image starts again. It's here, and here it starts again, so we don't want that. For the size, I would simply choose cover. That's the best option you can use. Okay. You can even fill in a background video by choosing video and typing in the URL here. Then you have a background video, but we're not gonna do it now, maybe later on. Okay, I'm going to click on the widgets again, and that's all there is to the background images and to images. Great, this was lesson number 6. By now we've learned a lot of stuff. You know how to edit buttons, texts, how to edit images and also background images, titles, add in videos, and how all the columns work. But what if you want to rearrange some stuff on your website? For example, you don't want the section to be up here, but lower down. What you can simply do is move your mouse above the edit section icon, click it and drag it down, and wherever it appears blue, you can drop it. And now it's lower. We could also do it a little more, for example, down here. And this also works with other sections. For example, this one could also be down here if we wanted to. The same principle goes for columns. For example, here we have a left column and here we have a right column. If I want to change that, I can just click here on the add a column icon, drag it to the left, for example, and drop it. And now it's switched. Can also undo that. And the same thing also works for widgets, so the things inside of the columns. For example, I want to have this button on the right, so I can just click on the added button icon, drag it to the right, and drop it. Awesome, it's that easy. So that's how you can rearrange some stuff on your website. But let's say I don't just want to rearrange it, but maybe I don't even want to have this whole section. What you can then do is just click on the X here and it will delete. The same thing goes for widgets. I can right click and then click on delete. I can also do that for columns, so right click and delete. Now we only have one column left. And I could also delete the whole section, like that. If I'm ever unsure about it and maybe I want to undo it, you already learned, you can click Ctrl or Command Z. Just like that, we go back. Great, and now we are back in the normal settings. That's almost all the basics you need to know. There's only one last thing, which would be adding in your own sections and widgets and columns. To do that, you can just scroll down, and down here you can see this pink plus. Just click on it once, and then you can select your structure. So how many columns you want. You can either have 1, 2, 3, 4, or all of these different ones. Let's just choose one. Okay, now we have one column and one section in here, but still no widgets. Let's start by giving this section a little more space. To edit the section, just make sure to click on Edit Section once, and here on the left we can edit it. If we go to Advanced, here, you see margin and padding. The margin is the space on the outside. So if I would add 100 on the top and bottom, we have 100 pixels of space between this section and this section. You could also unlink this and give it, for example, 200 to the top. Now we have more space to the top and still 100 to the bottom. Or you can also make it 0 and use padding. Padding is the spacing on the inside. So how much space you have on the inside of this section. For example, if we give it 100 on the top. No, wait, let's go back first. Let's unlink that first and give it 100 at the top. and 100 at the bottom. So now we have a little more space to the top and bottom. We don't need one on the right and left. So that's where I unlinked it and only chose top and bottom. So now we have some more space in here. Okay, now let's go to the layout, and we can also click back on the widgets by clicking on here. Okay, and now let's add some widgets. For example, first we want a title. So I can just choose a title and drag it in here, and then I can drop it. And now we have our title. This just works like I showed you in the beginning. You can click on it and then you can edit the content, style and advance. So let's title it Hello World. We could give it a link, center it if we wanted to. Let's leave it on the left. Then I can go into style, typography, make it bigger, go back on typography, text color. Let's say I want a grayish color, like that maybe. Go back to the color. Okay, now I have a title. I go back to the widgets and I want an image below it. So I can choose an image here on the left and drag it down there. Here I could choose an image from my media library, for example this, and insert the media. Now I have this image. Maybe it's too big, so I could choose medium. Oh, I don't really like that. Align it to the left. Yeah, looks alright. Okay, we could also go into the style and give it some custom sizing or change the opacity. But let's just leave it like that. We can even add a border to round it. Okay, what else do I want? Maybe I want to have Google Maps below it. That's also quite cool and quite useful sometimes. So I can just choose Google Maps. And here I can type in the location, for example, New York City. And it already chose New York City. We can change the height of the map. So how big it is. Let's make it a little bigger maybe. And also the zoom. So how far it is zoomed in. Awesome. Okay, we could go back to the widgets and do everything we want. We could even add a background image. So we would have to click on Edit Section, Style, and then Background type Classic, and upload an image, as you saw before. For example, this donut. This already looks quite cool. It's not perfect, but just to show you how you can add your own sections, columns, and play with the widgets. And now I can congratulate you. These are all the important basics about Elementor. You will learn some more in the course of this video, but if you understood everything I showed you in the last, I'm not sure, 20 minutes, you will be good to go and ready to build your sites and customize everything you want. So congratulations, you just learned a very valuable skill that you now just need to practice a little more. So that's what we're gonna do now by building a hands-on example for your project. Let's begin. The first step would be to clean up this site because we don't need any of this stuff. So what we can do is just click on the X for all the sections once and delete everything. Great. And now we can save all our changes by clicking on Update Once. And if I refresh the page, we have a blank page again and can start from scratch. Awesome. Let me get back in here. Now I want to add some pages. So I click on this icon and click on Exit to Dashboard. Make sure you save everything first. And then I click on Pages here on the left. And add new. This one I will call Contact. And then I do the same settings I do for every single site. So the Oceanwp Settings. Content layout, 100% full width. Header, disable top bar. Title, disable. And footer, disable and disable. Then I publish that once and publish once again. Great. Then I can click on Add New again. This one will be Services. I speed up the process now. I'll add the page as Services, Project 1, but you could also call this differently. For example, if you have a certain project, you can just name it after that. Then Projects, and maybe About Us. This all depends on what kind of sites you want to have. You can also add them later on too. I just want to create some before that because it's easier to link them to each other when we already created them. Okay, so I'll do that real quick and then just speed up the process now. Okay, so now we're on the pages and that is all done. And the next step is to import our first template with which we're going to work. So in order to do that, make sure that you activated the plugin Envato Elements. You can see it here. It should also appear here. And that you typed in your email address and clicked on continue. Okay, we can start with the homepage. So I'll open that real quick and then I can click on edit with Elementor. Great. And to add a template, we can click on Envato Elements and here we have templates. You might think you could also build your whole page by scratch by working with sections and then building everything by yourself. This does work and is also not too hard, but the problem is that when it gets to the details, it's often too complex for beginners, especially when you have to make it responsive so that it also looks good on your mobile phone. It might get a little hard, so it will never look as perfect as when you're working with templates. That's why I definitely recommend to either work with templates or with blocks. So you could also choose blocks and then say, okay, I want to start with a hero. So you click on hero and then maybe you like that and then importing it to your page. Then going back and maybe next you want a sub hero and you import it and then building your page block by block. This might also work, but you have to do a lot of customization to make it all look the same. So what I definitely recommend is to just work with templates. You can customize them the way you want and maybe combine them with blocks. This just makes your life way much easier. So here we are in the templates and you can just scroll down. The top ones with the star are only available in the premium version of Envato Elements. So scroll down a little further and here you can see the free ones. You can also go to the next page and just look through them. You can also search in the top for certain keywords or for certain groups. You also don't need to use the template that is specifically made for a construction company. You can basically choose any kind of template. For example, if I like this one, let's say Home 1, I could import it too and just customize it to look good for my company. So don't worry about that. But to make my life a little easier, I'm going to choose another template. I think it's on page 5. You can also just search for it. This would be Builder. You can also choose Construction and Industrial or any of those and just customize them. But let's take a look at the Builder template kit. And here we have different pages then. So we have a template kit, which is in general for building companies. And here we have different pages. So there's a layout for one homepage or for another, for projects, for detailed pages for projects, services pages, articles, about us pages, contact pages, all that stuff. You can just take a look at it by clicking on it and then you see a quick preview. Here we'll just choose whatever you think would look good with your company or what kind of layout you can imagine for your website. You can also choose any of those. I'm going to stick with Home 1 for now. So what you can do then is click on Import Template and it's importing. Great. Then you can click on the X, refresh the page once. You can then click on the folder icon and on My Templates. And here you can see Builder Home. This was just added to my templates. and I can click on Insert. Yes. Awesome, now we already have the template in here. One thing you might notice is that in the top, the header is gone, so we have to add that again. You can just do that by clicking on Settings in the bottom left, and here under Page Layout, you can choose Default. And it's back. Awesome. Okay, so now we have the template in here and we can start customizing it. So I would just start and look what I like. Let's say, okay, this hero section, which is always in the top with a big image, I like it. I want to customize it for my company. So what could I start with? Maybe the background image. It's the background image of a section. So I click on Edit Section. I click on Style. And here we have the background and already can find the image. So I can just click on it and choose my own image. Maybe it's already in your media library, or you can upload the files, select files from your computer. I'll do that real quick. And maybe I want to use this picture. So I open it. Great, now it's uploaded. Also make sure that it's not too big. So this is a big picture. It has 2250 by 1500 pixels, but only 191 kilobytes. So that's alright. But make sure that it never has more than, say, 500 kilobytes, I would say, because otherwise your site loads way too slow. So if it's ever that big, go to an online image compressor site, upload the image, compress the quality. It will still look good, but be way less big. And then you can upload it again and save a lot of data so that your website is still quick. That's a really important point. Okay, so I choose this image, insert media, and that already looks good. If it doesn't already look good, you can play with the position a little bit. So right now it's center-centered. You can also choose custom and then move it around. Also the right position. Or you can choose a different position. So center left, center center, bottom left, whatever looks better. Yeah, maybe like that looks good. If it may be a little too bright and you have a right title, you can also give it a background overlay. So I choose background overlay here on the left side. And then I can choose normal, background type, classic. And I will choose a color. So for example, a black tone. Then I can choose how dark it should be by working on the transparency. So right now there's no overlay. This is a really dark overlay. Say maybe like that. Now it's easier to read. Great. I can click on the box again to close the color. Okay, that should be good for the background. Then we can click on the widgets again. Here we have a little title. You can just click on it to edit it. Then you could change the text, or maybe you don't like it at all. So you can right click and delete. Then you only have this title. We can click on here and change the title by just changing the text. This BR right here is HTML code, which just means that a new line is starting. So if I delete it, it's in one line. If you want to keep it, it's not that hard. Okay. We could also change the alignment. Maybe like that. We could change it. We can also delete it. Then we have this button right here. You can click on it again. Maybe I also want to align it to the center. Okay. The link right now is set to hashtag, so nothing happens. The text says find out more. We could also title it learn more. And for the link, I could call it more. Okay. So remember that I titled hashtag more. Let me update that real quick and let me show you something pretty cool. If I scroll down here and edit this section, so I click on edit section and then go to advanced, and under CSS ID, I call it more. If I now update the page, and go to my page, refresh it. We have this button which says Learn More. If I click on it, it scrolls down to the section More. This is a pretty cool effect, so I'll keep that too. Okay, let's get back to editing the button. So I click on here, and we could also edit the style of it. So everything you've already learned, the background color, the text color, the hover color. If you're ever unsure about this, just go back to the part where I explain it. I also have timestamps in the video description. Okay, I'm not gonna waste your time by editing this now, but you could just change the colors and text to make it look good for your company. Okay, I can go back to the widgets, scroll down. Here we have a small About Us section, so we provide professional services. Maybe you could change it to whatever you provide. For example, we provide the best carpeting in New York City. There's like a smaller text, maybe we've been doing this for 30 years, we have 20 plus employees, and jobs from the government, or whatever kind of text you want to have in there. We could also work on this, so whatever you want to edit, just click on it, and then you can see what you can edit. So this right here includes also a little bit of HTML text. This is just to have an icon in there, but it doesn't even really work. So it now says 420 plus completed projects. This already looks good, but let's change it a little bit actually, because I think we could do something cooler. So I'll delete it. And now I'll search for a widget, which is a counter. So here I have a counter, and I can just drag it over completed projects and drop it. And this counts stuff. So here on the left, in content, I can just see what it says. So the starting number should be 0. Okay, that's all right. The ending number will be the amount of projects we completed. So let's say 255. We have a number prefix and a number suffix. So if I give it, for example, a 1, we can leave the number prefix alone, but this is simply what stands before the number. For example, AV and then this. The number suffix stands behind this number, so for example plus. And now we have 255 plus projects finished. We also have a title for it. I could also delete it because we already have a title below it. Okay, I'm gonna delete the plus again and go to styling now. Here we have the text color for the number. So I want to change it to this yellow tone. So I have to copy it real quick. So I go to style, text color. Here I see the hex code, which is the color code. I click back on here, on the text color, and I can fill it in. And now we have the same color for this. What else? I can go into the typography of the number. So the styling basically, make it bigger or smaller. Let's not make it too big. Maybe 45 is alright. Okay. Then I can go out of it. If I wanted to, I could do the same process for the percentage number, but I think it might look a little weird if you have two counters at the same time. But if I wanted to, I could just delete this, right click on this, click on copy, and here, click on paste, and then just drag it to the top. So now we have the same widget twice. If I click on it, I can edit it. So I could make it 100, and the suffix would be %. And now we have the same. Great. I can also go into the animation duration to say how long it should load, but just see what it says on the left, maybe try it out, and then you see what happens. And if it doesn't work, just undo it. You can do it here in the history, or by clicking Ctrl or Command Z. You can change the text, but you know all that. Same goes for here. You can just click on it, change the images, change the titles, change the descriptions, and also the links in here. So for example, this says read more for our services or about us. So in the link, I could go back and search for services. And since I already made a services page, I can just click on it. And now read more will link to our services page. In case I don't like a whole section, I can also just delete it and maybe find a section that works better for me. So what I then can do is hover over here, click on a plus, so add section, then click on Envato Elements, go to blocks, and maybe I want a services block, so I can just look for services. Here I have services. And let's say this works better for me, then I can just click on add block to page and it's inserted. And now I can just customize the style. But what I can also do to save some time would be copying styles. So this is almost a similar style, I think. But for example, this little separator looks a little different than this one. So I can right click in here, click on copy, and then I can right click on here and click on paste style. And now it's the same style as this. This will save you a lot of time. You can do that for everything, for titles, for texts, for images, for everything basically. Okay, and also in here, you can just customize everything as you want. Okay, cool. Same goes for all of this. You can change the backgrounds, you can change that, you can delete sections. So let's click on the button which is work with us. And for the link, I go back and I search for contact because I want this to link to my contact page. So our visitors can contact us and we get more leads. So I search for contact and here I have contact. And now this leads us to the contact page. Awesome. Here we have latest projects. This is always great to show potential customers some of your latest projects or some of your general projects to convince them of your skills. So like every time we can just change everything. You can change the picture. Right now it has like this little shrinking effect. If you want to edit that, just click on the image, then click on style. And here it only happens when you hover over it. So you would have to go into hover. And here you can see the hover animation is shrink. If you want to change it, you can change it to anything else, for example grow. Or you can also click on X, so now you don't have an effect anymore. There will be a lot of stuff like that you probably don't know. So what you can just do is basically two things. You can either click on it and then go into the content, go through everything and see if there's something that you may recognize. So for example, if I search for this shrinking effect, I would have to see, okay, it happens when I hover. I can't see any hover settings in the content, maybe in the style. And then you see, okay, hover. And then you find it. This version of working might take a little longer. What you can also do is right click on it. Then you will always see what it is. So this says edit image. This says edit heading. This says edit divider. And then you can just search for divider Elementor in a new tab. And there will be a whole tutorial on each of those things you can edit, where you will also see all of the settings. This is like way more in detail, but I can't go into detail for every single setting or every single widget because there are way too many. So if there's ever anything that you really have a problem with, do that, or you can also comment down below and I'll help you out. Okay, so we edited that. Latest projects. This says view more projects, so this would be a button. We can also edit the read more links to projects. So here are link to projects and also here are link to projects. Just search for it. But we can only link to these pages so easily right now because I already created the pages. Otherwise you would have to fill in your whole URL and then / and the name of the site. Okay, but I recommend to just create the pages beforehand, and then linking them is way easier. Okay, so I linked to these pages, and I can also do the same on this button. So view more projects, and the link is projects. Great. What else? Here we can just change everything. Maybe I don't like these testimonials, maybe I want different ones. So I can go back into the blogs and search for testimonials. Here we have a testimonial slider or a testimonial grid. Just take a look what you prefer. Maybe there's something that you like more. Maybe you have pictures of your testimonials, so of people that recommend your services or your company. This is always great for building trust. Okay. Same goes for here, you know how. You can just edit everything. You can edit your phone number. You can edit the get a quote button to link to contact. Great. And I can update the page once. You can take a look at it, but we didn't change too much because you already know how to do it and I don't want to waste your time. Awesome. Okay. Oh, and by the way, this hero image picture has like this sliding effect. You can also disable that if you wanted to. So I would have to go back in here, style, and then go to the background first. And here under the image, the attachment is fixed. You can also choose scroll, and now it's fixed. But let's choose fixed. So it has this cool effect. Okay, I'll update the page once again. Oh, and by the way, I used stock photos for this website. These are all stock photos. For you, it kind of depends. You probably already have a lot of pictures of your company, maybe of some of your employees, of yourself, of some of the work you did, of some of the projects. If you don't, I would definitely recommend you to do some. They don't have to be really professional. The most important part is that they seem friendly and natural. So take a good smartphone with you on your construction site, take a few great pictures. Maybe you also have a friend that owns a camera and knows how to shoot pictures. That would be even better, but otherwise just use your smartphone. Take some nice pictures, upload them to your computer, and then you can use them too. I would definitely recommend you to not use stock photos for your website because it just seems unnatural and people don't really want to work with a faceless company because almost everyone realizes that it's stock photos. So make it seem natural with real pictures and real projects and some real testimonials, and it will get you a ton of leads. Okay, that's that. Let's edit the next pages. So I'll exit the dashboard, make sure that you save everything, and then I click on exit to dashboard, and I can go to the next pages. So I can hover over pages and click on all pages. And the next page we could edit would, for example, be the projects page. So I can click on projects. Make sure that you did all the settings for Oceanwp, so the content layout, the header, the title, and the footer. You've seen them already. And when you have done those, you can click on Edit with Elementor. Great. Now we can search for a good template. So I can click on Envato Elements, go to Templates, and go to the right template kit. And this is a projects page, so I probably choose projects. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so import template. Great, now I can refresh the page again. Click on the file icon and my templates. And here I have builder and projects. So I can insert it, yes. And also go to the settings and choose default again. Here. Great. And now it's the same as for everything else. You can just click on it and edit everything you want to edit. Maybe you don't have so many projects yet, so you can also delete them. You can link them to specific project sites. So here I would search for project 1. You can obviously call it whatever you want. And if someone clicks on view more, it will lead to the dedicated page where you show some more details about the demo project. Okay, so we could edit everything here, also the button. Maybe you also don't want it, so you can delete it. Some more testimonials. And if you want, you can add a footer, because right now we don't really have an end to the page. So I can click on here, go to blocks, search for a footer, so it should be here, footer. These require Elementor Pro, so you can't use them, but you can scroll down and just see if you find a footer you like. Maybe I like this one, so I can click on add block to page, then it's inserting. If it doesn't immediately add it, sometimes it doesn't really work, but once you clicked on it, you can also click on here, and it should be in my templates. Let's update the page once and refresh it. And if I now scroll down again, click on the file icon and go to my templates, it's in here, footer. So I can also insert it that way. Yes. Awesome. Now we have our footer in here. Here. Cool. Maybe I don't like this bluish background color, so I can click on edit, style. Let's see, here we have a color. Maybe I want to have it in white too, so I just leave it in white. What else? Maybe I think it should be a little higher, so I can go to advanced. And here I could either change the padding or the margin. Let's go into the margin. Right now the values are linked together, but I'll unlink it. If I now choose a negative amount in the top, it will go up a little bit. Okay, cool. Could also choose %. That makes it also a little easier. Okay, so now I have it a little higher, and I could also customize it, so I could change it to my personal logo. By the way, if you don't have a logo for your construction company yet, I will link a video in the top right that will show you how to get a logo for your company, and it costs like $6 or $7. So you can definitely check that out if you want a logo for your company. Yeah, here we could put some more links. We could also delete one of those sections, so it has only 2. Let's say I like it like that. I would, in real life, obviously customize it, so click on it, change this, and maybe the buttons, the icons, whatever you like. Okay, let's say I like it like that. And I want to use this footer for multiple pages. What I then can also do is right click on here, click on Save as Template, give it a name, for example, good footer. Then I can save it. And it's in my templates, so I can also use it on different pages later on. I can even do the same for pages. Let's say we have a dedicated page for a project. Well, I save it first. Edit the dedicated page in a way I like. And maybe I want to use the same layout I just customized for myself for multiple projects. So instead of redoing it every time, you can just save the whole page template by clicking on here, Save Options. Click on Save Template and giving it a name, saving it the same way as we just did with the template. And then you can also just import it. Okay, this should be enough for our projects page. I think by now you get how it works. You just import the template. Oh, because I added the block down here, the header is gone again. So I click on Settings again and Default. So if you're ever wondering why you can't see your navigation, that's probably why. Okay, so update. Great. Always customize it in a way you like. And let's get to the next step. If I go to all pages again, I could do the same process for every single page. Let's just go into contact real quick, because that's a pretty important page too, because here you can make your money by getting leads. So I click on edit with Elementor again. Remember the Oceanwp Settings, so edit with Elementor. And if I click on Envato Elements again and templates, I can go to the right template again. Here under Builder, and let's see which contact page I like. So here we have two contact pages. This would be 1 and this would be 2. Yeah, I like 2 more, so I'll import this template. X, refresh. I speed that up a little bit now because you know the process. Okay, now we have a contact page, and here you can also change everything. So you can add your office, your phone number, your email address, your social sites. Here you can see the icons don't really show. This sometimes happens when you import templates, but don't worry, just click on the section and edit it. Click on here, and for the icon, sometimes you either have to click on the icon box and then choose the icon again to make it appear, or you just have to click on the editing once in general, because now you can see it again. So just click around on them a little bit and they will appear again. Maybe I don't even have Instagram for our construction company, so I click on X, and also not Google+. Okay, so now we have this. You know how to edit it. You can also click on this pencil and edit in the address of your company, so people can find you easier. You can write a short text. Let's start by adding the same footer we want to have for every page. So I can click on here, and under my templates you can see good footer. So this is the one we just saved, and I can insert it, yes. And here we have a footer, great. What else? We want a way for them to contact us. We already have a phone number and our email address, which is great. But one thing we can also do is add a contact form. So let's update the page once and go into the Wordpress Dashboard. I already have one tab open, so I just go to Plugins. And in order to add a contact form, we need a new plugin. So we can go to Plugins and then click on Add New. And here you could search for a contact form plugin, but I would definitely recommend to use one plugin I recommend, because I think it's the easiest to work with, which would be Happy Forms. So here you can find it. It sometimes changes its name a little bit, but it's by the Theme Foundry, and I can click on Install Now. It's also free. I mean, at least there's a free version, so that should be enough. And then activate it. Here you can skip this step and continue. And we already have it installed. So if you ever want to edit it, just click on the page here on the left where it says Happy Forms. Okay, so they already created a sample form for us. We can work with that. Let's click on this and edit it a little bit. Okay, so this is the basic thing, how it would look like. You have your title, which is sample form. We could title it Contact Us or Get a Quote, whatever you prefer. Then the first field is the first name. So short text, first name. You can change the name of the field. So you could also title name if you want. You can even write a description or a placeholder. And you can say where it should be placed. So I like it inside. Like that. Here this checkbox is really important. This is required. If you check it, it is a required field. And people cannot send the form if they did not place their first name. For the first name, it's probably not that important, so maybe uncheck it. Okay. The last name, it's the same for that. So label, I like it inside, but this one I would require. Then we have multiple choice. So what's the reason for contacting us? If you want to keep it in, you can keep it in, and then they can check either of those. So maybe you could rename it for I need a quote, or maybe roofing, metalworks, and whatever you provide. So maybe you can ask them here what they are inquiring about, but you could also delete the whole section by clicking on delete down here. I don't think we need it. We also don't need what's your age. So I click on it and delete it too. I just want to build a simple one. So your message, this is important. Here I'll also change it to inside. So here they could describe what they even need. This is required, yes. And I'll also add another part. In this part, I want to have their email address so I can message them again. So title, email, label display is inside, and the email address is required. Then I can click on add a part again. And maybe this time I want to have their phone number. So here I would just choose short text and call it phone number or phone, and label display should also be inside. And either you want it required or not. This is totally up to you if you need it. Okay, so this should be enough. Just make sure that you have a way of contacting them after they send you an email. Okay, then we can get into the setup. So this is the success message they see after sending out the contact form. So thank you, your submission has been sent. If you want, you can change the text to whatever is working for you. So thank you, we received your email. The error message is the same. If they want to send it and it doesn't work, this will appear. You can change the text too. Here the optional part label after first name, it says optional because it's an optional field. If you don't want this, delete it. The submit button label is called send, so that's why the button says send. You can also give it another name, for example, get quote or whatever. Good, the rest should be alright. Then we can get into the email. Okay, I would leave that checkbox on. The email address, by the way, you can also always hover over the question mark and it will tell you what it does. So here I will just fill in the email address you want to get the contact form sent to and the email address you also want to send out emails with. So this is the email address I want to get my contact form sent to, and your email subject is what you will see whenever you get a new contact form. So maybe I will call this contact form construction site. If you want, you can even send out a confirmation email to their email address. Whenever you receive a contact form, it will automatically send out this email and probably just say, hey, we received your contact form and we'll be contacting you in a couple of days or hours. If you want to have something that automatically sends it out, you can use this. If you don't want to do that, you can also uncheck it. Let's say we want it, so we can click this and then just fill in the right stuff. So the email address you want to send it out from, where they can reply to, the name it should display, maybe the name of your construction site and your personal name, and also the subject. Awesome. Okay, then we can also go into the style. And here we can get into general if we want. And here we could mainly change some of the colors, so the primary colors and the success and error message colors, but they mostly look good, so I won't even go into that. So let's go back once. We can also go into title, and if we want, we can also hide the title so people can't see it. I want to hide it because later on we're going to build it into our contact page, so that's why I hide it. And the alignment should be alright. You could center it if you wanted to, or on the right side, but it doesn't really make a difference here. So this should be good. You can also make it bigger or smaller. Okay. The rest is not necessary, and then we can click on update. And then we can click on X once it's updated. And here we are back in the Happy Forms plugin. And what we can do now is here where it says shortcode, we can copy that. And then we can go into our contact page and add a shortcode widget. So here I can search for a shortcode. Here I have it. And then I can see where I want to place my contact form. Let's see if it maybe looks good below it. And then here we can paste in the shortcode. And as we can see, this is a little small. So let's get back a few steps. Okay, I'm going to click on plus once and click on plus again and choose 1. So now we have one more section that's right below it. And here I can search for shortcode again. Fill it in and paste the shortcode. And now we have our contact form in here. First name, last name, your message, email, phone, and you can send it out. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's update the page and take a look at it. So contact us and let's even try it out. Okay, so I filled everything in and then I can click on send. Thank you, your submission has been sent. Awesome, and let me open up the Gmail account and see if I received an email. Okay, I'm in the email account and here you can see Tim Wessels, contact form construction site. And if we click on it, you can see first name, last name, your message, the email address, and the number. Awesome, so it works. Okay. And the next step would be to make sure that our page also looks good on your mobile phone. So if you ever want to check that, because it's really important, you can click on here where it says responsive mode, and then you can choose tablet to make sure that it looks good on the tablet, but it does. And you can also click on mobile to make sure that it looks good on mobile, but it does in every case right now. And that's because we work with pre-made templates, because they are made by professional designers and they are mostly optimized. But if you ever have anything that doesn't really look good on your mobile phone, you can just click on it. For example, this one, I mean, it looks good, but let's say I want to edit this. So this is the title. Let's say I want to make it bigger on the mobile phone. What I can do is go to the style, like always. In this case, I will go to typography. And here, under size, you can see on the right side, there's this small icon. Right now it shows a smartphone, because we are on the smartphone. If we click on it and then choose tablet, it will change to the tablet version, but also whatever we edit now will only change for the tablet version. The version for the smartphone and the version for the desktop will stay exactly the same, but only for settings where you have this icon next to it. So if I change the rate now to, let's say, 900, it will also change on the desktop. But for example, if I change the size or the line height or the letter spacing, it will only change on the tablet version. So if I choose mobile and make it bigger and then go back to the tablet size, it went smaller again. Okay, basically the most important lesson. Whatever you want to change, whatever doesn't look good, just click on it, go into the style, make sure that you selected the fitting version, so your tablet, smartphone or desktop, and then make it look good. And afterwards, check out if it also looks good on your desktop and mobile still. You can do the same for text, for the logos, for images, for everything basically. In case you have a section that just does not look good on your mobile phone, no matter what you do, and you also don't really need it, you can also click on, for example, edit section. Same goes for widgets and for columns. So edit it, then you can go to advanced, and here under responsive, you have the option to hide it on certain devices. So if I don't want to show it on my mobile phone, I can also select that, and it won't show on your mobile phone right now. This is just made a little more pale, but on your real mobile phone, you won't see this section anymore. This also works for a tablet or for desktop. Let's say I want to hide it on the desktop. And if I update the page now and refresh it, you can see this is gone. Okay. Yeah, that's basically everything for mobile optimization, especially if you work with templates and with blocks, which I really recommend you. You won't have to do much of this. but every once in a while go into the responsive mode and make sure that it still looks good. In case you want to learn more about how to make your page more responsive, you can also go to YouTube and just search for Elementor responsive. And you will find tons of great tutorials showing you more options on making your page responsive, and then the video will take way too long. But if you ever have problems with anything in Elementor basically, just right click on it, see what it is, and then Google, for example, edit heading Elementor, and you will find a detailed tutorial on headings. Same goes for making your page responsive. For example, if you don't know how to add a contact form, you can also search for add contact form Elementor. You will always find a great tutorial. Okay, so this is the contact page. This works and will bring you a ton of great leads, especially because most construction companies don't have such great looking websites. The only thing that's really missing now is a navigation. We have a few great pages and you can always add more, but if I go to the home page, there's no way for me to go to other pages. All I have is learn more, which goes down. Maybe if I click on work with us, it goes to the contact page, but I don't really have a navigation. So let's work on that now. To do that, we can get back into the dashboard. I have a tab open here. And then we have to add the navigation first. So we have to hover over appearance and then click on menus. Here we give the menu a name. I will call this main because it's my main menu. Then you can click on create menu. And now we can add the pages that should be in the navigation. So I want to have my homepage, which I can see if I click on view all. So I want to have my homepage in it. I want to have contact. I want to have projects and project one, and maybe even services. So I have these pages and then I can just click on add to menu. And now they are in my menu. I can also change the order of them. This just goes from left to right. So now home would be the one that stands on the left, contact right next to it. So maybe I want home, then services, then contact, then project one, then projects, and then project one. Okay. Then here under menu settings, you select main and save the menu. And if I refresh my homepage now, you will see we have a navigation. Doesn't look too good yet, but it works. Okay, that's cool. So we have home, services, contact, projects, and project one. What we can also do is make a sub menu. So we have projects, and maybe I want to have project one below it. So I can choose project one and drag it to the right, and now it's a sub item. If I save the menu and refresh the page once, I can now also hover over projects and click on project one, or I can click on projects directly. So this is also an option. Okay. Let's move it back, but you could definitely do that too if you wanted. You can also do custom links. So for example, if you want to link to google.com or YouTube or maybe a partner site, you can give this link a name, for example, YouTube, and then just fill in the URL of the site you want to link to, add it to the menu, and then it's just another point like that. Okay, so we've done everything here, make sure that it's saved, and then we can work on the design of it by hovering over appearance and then click on customize. Great, this is the customizer. With the customizer you edit the design of the theme. So now we are working in Oceanwp, and since I already explained it, we made the footer and the body with Elementor, but the header we're building with Oceanwp, so that's why we are in the customizer, but it works almost the same as the Elementor page builder. On the left side you have everything you added, and on the right side you have a preview of what it will look like. Okay, so to edit the header, what we have to do is go to header, and then we can go to general, and here we can choose the style for our header. Right now it's set to minimal. We could also choose transparent. This might look good on some pages, but if you decide to use this, you always have to make sure that it looks good on every single page, so that the background also works with other pages. That's why I don't really like the transparent header, but if you want to use it, you can use it, just make sure that it looks good on every page. And here you can also see the header border bottom. This is just the small white line. You could also disable this. Okay, you could also choose, for example, a top menu. So now you have your title and your subtitle. If you had a logo, this would be your logo. And then you have your menu in the top. You could also choose full screen. Then it will be a full screen. You can also choose a centered one, a medium. I won't show every single one now. I'm just gonna stick with minimal, but you can try out multiple if you want. So I'm gonna choose minimal because I like this the most. You can change the height. Maybe that should be enough. You can say it should be full width, so now it goes completely from left to right, but I don't want that. You can change the background color, so you can make it red if you wanted to, but I'm gonna stick with white. Okay. Click on this again, and then you can change the border bottom color again, but I unchecked it anyway. But in case you, for example, have a transparent header, you can change the color of the line that is down there. Okay, once we've done that, we can go back once. Then we can change the logo. So right now it just has my site title, but you probably have a logo for your company. In case you don't have one, click on the eye in the top right of this video, and you will see a video where I show you how to get a logo for your company. But let's click on logo once and select the logo. I already have a logo from one of the templates, so I'm just gonna stick with that. So select it, maybe make it, cut it so that it looks good. I mean, this doesn't really count as a good logo, but just to show you how to work with it. So this is the colors of it. Maybe this already looks good. Yours probably will be round, so you can also play on the max height and max width just to make sure that it has the right size for your header. Yeah, maybe that's good. Okay, so we can go back. Then we can also go into menu. We can leave all that. Here the position is set to right, so that's why it's on the right. You can center it if you wanted to, or have it on the left, but I'll leave it at right. The links effect is set to no effect. You could also choose underline from left. And now whenever you hover over one of the pages, it will underline from the left. This is quite cool. You could also choose any of those others, but you can just try them out if you wanted to. The links effect color is set to blue right now, so if I hover over it, it gets the line under it is blue. If you wanted to change it, you could also change it to whatever you like, but I'm gonna stick with the default color because it also looks good with the logo, so just make sure that it looks good. Okay, I click on this again. Good, so the main styling. So the link color is set to gray, so that's why it's this gray color right now. If you wanted to, you could also change it to black or whatever you want. I'm gonna stick with default. The link color hover color is if you hover over this, the link gets blue. You could also change that, so now it gets red. Whatever you like. I'm gonna choose default, but you probably have some color schemes you want to use for your company, so just always copy the hex code and fill it in here. Okay, the current menu item is set to gray, but for example right now we're on the home page, so maybe I want to highlight that a little bit and choose black. So now you can see the homepage got a little more black, or we could also choose red or green or blue. Yeah, let's stick with blue. Okay, the link background, believe me, you don't want to change that. That looks weird. So clear it again. Okay, the link background hover is the same, would also look weird, so don't change it probably. Or just make it transparent by dragging this to the left and then nothing will happen. Okay, so what else? Drop down styling, we don't really need that in the minimal navigation, but search icon. Right here we have a search icon. I would just disable this because it doesn't really work that well and it just looks weird then, so disabled. Yeah, since it's disabled, we don't need more. Okay, then we can get back once and once more. And what else? We can go into the typography here, and then we can go on main menu, and here we can change the font family. Probably I would change it to the font family that we also use in our template. So to get that font family, you would just have to open Elementor, click on it, go to style and see which font family it is, and then choose one of those here. I'm just gonna stick with that. You can change the font weight to make it bold or less bold, whatever you like. You can change the font style to italic, which doesn't look really good. Okay, and you can change the text transformation to capitalize everything or to lowercase everything, uppercase everything. Maybe that's good, yeah. Okay, so uppercase, and you can change the font size. So maybe I want to have 20, yeah. So everyone can read my navigation really well. That's good. Okay, then we can go back once and once more. And let's take a look at the mobile menu. So we have to go on header again and then choose mobile menu from the mobile perspective. So choose the mobile icon in the bottom. And here you can see the menu does look different now. So if you wanted to, you could even select a logo just for the mobile version. Maybe you have a smaller logo you have for that. You could just crop it with any kind of image software, for example Paint on Windows, to make it smaller and upload it then. Okay, so the most important part is mobile menu styling. Right now it's set to sidebar, so if I click on mobile, it opens the sidebar. You could also choose drop down. So if I click on it, it's a drop down, or you can choose full screen. And if you click on it, it's a full screen menu. I like that. Display menu text. Right now it's set menu. You could change it to navigation, or you could also just disable that and it will only have this burger icon, which I prefer. Okay, mobile menu search. We also want to disable that because otherwise people can search down here. And then we can go into the mobile menu styling. So the background color is set to black. If I click on it, you can see it's this black. You can also make it less transparent, more transparent. Maybe like that is good. You could even change the color. The links color is set to this grayish. You could also make it white, transparent. Now you can see them anymore. Whatever kind of links color you want to have. Okay. The links hover color doesn't really make a difference because you don't really hover with the mobile phone. But if you wanted to, you could change it to red, and then when they hover over it, it changes to that color. It's almost the same as for the normal menu. Okay. Links background color, we don't want to change it. Links background color hover, also not. And the search bar is disabled. Yeah, that's it basically. We can even go back here and go back once more and then go to typography again and then go to mobile menu. And it's the same as for the typography as for the normal menu. So you can change the font family again. You can change the font style. You can change the transformation. And you can change the size if you wanted to. Also the same for the tablet version. Okay, also the line height and the letter spacing. Okay, yeah, that's it basically. Let's publish that and let's take a look at the site now. Yeah, that looks way better. Okay, learn more. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. So that's basically it. We have a working navigation. We have a great homepage. We have a projects page where we show all of our projects. We have some cool testimonials. We have a footer menu. And for each project, we have a project page, which I didn't edit yet because you know how. We have a great navigation. We have a great contact page. where people can even send you inquiries. Yeah, that's basically all you need for a great construction website. It also looks good on your mobile phone and on your tablet. And it took you less than 2 days to make and cost less than $100. So, congratulations, you just learned how to make your own website in less than 3 hours, I think, yeah? So, congrats. This is a great skill. You can use it for multiple pages. Maybe you have multiple projects, multiple companies. Maybe you can even make it for friends and family. So, congrats. You learned a very valuable skill. And that's it basically. If you want to check out SecRound, please remember the link in the description. If you will need a logo, check out the video. I linked in the top right of this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you did not enjoy this video, please leave a dislike so I know. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching so far. Have fun with your new website. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. See you. Bye bye.